Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my bookish world. I'm Alex, and today I'm here to do my September TBR. So as I'm filming this, the day that it's going up, today it's August 30th. Tomorrow is August 31st, so tomorrow is the last day of August. And I was really hoping I had a large TBR in August, which sadly is going to make my TBR for September even more, a lot bigger. So, we're doing great. But anyway, basically what happened was I was hoping to at least finish 2 more books before the end of the month, and I still might finish one. But because I was on a trip to Michigan with some family over the weekend, I really did not get much reading time because I don't like to read in the car, and I didn't want to use like my library app that often, and I didn't have the audiobook. So, yeah. But we're hoping that I'm still going to finish this book before the end of the month. I'm 53 pages in, but it's a pretty quick read, so we'll see. So the first book that I'm hoping that I will finish, but I might finish in September, is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. If you don't know what this book is about, it basically follows Dani, obviously, who is completely has sworn off relationships and is more into just having hookups, until she meets this dude Zaf, who is a security guard at her work, and they go viral on the internet after a video was posted of him carrying her out of a building because she was trapped in an elevator. And I guess they strike up a romance. I'm getting to that part, but I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I didn't get to read much, but I'm hoping this is going to go by really quickly. And then the next book that I'm really sad that I didn't get to, and is the one that I wanted to get to this month, like it even has a bookmark in it, but I'll be getting to this in September because I'm going to force myself to, is The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. Not The Trials of Apollo. What's this book called? The Tower of Nero. So this is the 5th book in the Trials of Apollo series, which is like the last book that takes place in the Rick Riordan the Percy Jackson universe. So I've been putting this off. This came out like last year. I've been putting it off for a really long time because, one, I didn't own it and I didn't want to get it from the library. I wanted to own it. But also, two, I just don't really want to say goodbye to this story, in this world and these characters, but I know I need to. Basically, this series follows Apollo, who's one of the Greek gods, and he is cast down to Earth to live life as a mortal until he completes a certain quest to gain his godship back. But yeah, I need to finish it. I need to finish off my shelf, but I really don't want to finish it because I don't want to get rid of these characters. So yeah, that's where I am. And then I have Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I've been wanting to read this book since it came out, and it's really annoying because now I own it and I still didn't get to it, but I feel like August was just kind of a weird, like, busy month for me. Like, last week wasn't all that busy, but I had like my last few weeks of work left, and then not only that, but we had my graduation party, which took a lot of planning, and I didn't really get to read, and I had family in town visiting, and then obviously we had my trip to Michigan for a cousin's wedding. So yeah, I just really did not have as much time as I anticipated to read. So basically all I know about this is it's kind of inspired by the R. Kelly situation, where this girl, Enchanted, wants to become a rapper, I believe, and she, this producer strikes up like a business deal, but it soon leads into a non-consensual, maybe, I don't actually know if it's non-consensual, but into a very inappropriate relationship as she is still a minor. So I've been wanting to read this forever, so hopefully I can get to it in September. And then we're almost done with the books that I've been meaning, that I was going to get to in August and that I didn't get to. Then we have 1,000 Perfect Notes by C.J. Drews. All I know about this is that the main character is, seems to be, like, almost in an abusive, what's the word? His mother seems to be abusive since she was a famous pianist, but now she's forcing her son to play the piano until a girl named August comes into the picture and kind of helps him. So I'm really excited to read this. I've had it for a while, not for a while. I've had this my birthday. So I'm just really want to get into it. And then the last book, I promise, that's on my like what I should have gotten to or what I plan to get to in August is Anyway the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. Now, this is thick, but I remember that her books, or at least this series, tends to go fast. Basically, it's about a fictional world or fictional story that exists within Fangirl, and it follows these two main characters, Simon and Baz, who are seemingly a lot like the writer who shall not be named, main character and the villain, except these two characters strike up a romance. And this is the third book in the trilogy, I believe that's it. So I'm really hoping to get to it. I might listen to this on an audiobook. I do think I have it on hold from my library, or like I'm waiting for it. Because yeah, it's a thick one. But if I don't get to this in September, I'm not gonna like be mad at myself for it. It's definitely like a book that I would like to get to, but I'm not in a rush to get to it. I have other books that I am in a rush to get to, obviously. So now let's actually get into my September TBR, like my official one. Those are just books that I'm carrying over because I suck. So the first book is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which basically follows a woman named Lauren and a boy or a guy named Ryan who are married, and they reach a breaking point and they come up with a plan where for a year they decide to take a year off in the hope of finding a way to fall in love again. And so 1 year apart, and the only rule that they cannot break is that they're not allowed to contact each other. But other than that, this is like anything goes. So I'm really excited. I really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I read Malibu Rising last month and adored it. But I really love her older work too. And I think this is just going to be really interesting. She tends to write really interesting contemporaries that I feel like are out of the box. So I'm really excited about this. The next book that I have on here is Hazel Bly and the Deep Blue Sea. This is by Ashley Herring Blake. I don't know much about this. I believe it's a middle grade novel, although it might be young adult. But I've read almost all of Ashley Herring Blake's novels at this point. I loved Girl Made of Stars. I've read her other two middle grades, and they were really great, and as well as How to Make a Wish. So I don't know much about this. I'm going to guess that it's probably going to deal with maybe a difficult subject, as most of her books tend to do that. And it most likely will have a queer romance. That's just a guess. And then I have Stamped, which, I'll be honest, I don't actually know what that is about. No, that's not the website. So, I believe that there's two different versions of Stamped, and I'm probably going to read both of them at some point, but I'm going to read Stamped from the Beginning, I think. The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America by Ibram Kendi. I probably mispronounced that, which is interesting because I just read How to Be an Anti-Racist last month, and he also has plenty of other books that deal with anti-racist ideals as well as history, but I'm really excited to get to this as it definitely sounds interesting, and I did enjoy How to Be an Anti-Racist. And then I have, if I can find it, Actor Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the last book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. The first book being Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and the second book being Take a Hint. I don't know too much about this. Obviously, it follows Eve, who is kind of a hot mess, and she's looking to find a job because she is one of the only sister that isn't really motivated and doesn't have a very steady job, and she has been cut off. And she stumbles into this inn and decides to see if she can be like a chef for them. and the owner is apparently like really stuck up, but she helps with that. So I'm really excited to get to this. And then I have Tell Me Lies, which, again, I need to start looking at the books, but it is by Carola Lovering. I think I put this on my TBR because I heard Katie from Kate's Book Date talk about it, and I believe it's a story exploring it's a novel exploring toxic relationships in a coming-of-age story, which I think is probably why I wanted to read it. It sounded really interesting. So, yeah. It takes place in college, so I guess it's technically new adult, which is exciting. And I definitely think that it will be interesting, if not maybe a little bit hard to read. I'll have to let you know. I'm sure there are going to be trigger warnings. And then I am hoping to get to Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I have the first 2 books and I don't know what the name of the series is. I don't remember what the name of the series is, Fortuna Sworn. But in this series, so I have this one in Restless Slumber. But I heard a lot of people talking about this last year, specifically because of Becca from Becca and the Books. And more people started to read it. It is a self-published fantasy romance story, and I've heard it's pretty dark. But basically, it's about this woman, obviously named Fortuna Sworn, who is a nightmare, and she is the last of her kind. So in this story, she's just trying to blend in, live her life. And she catches the eye of a powerful fairy who makes no attempt to hide that he desires Fortuna. In exchange for her, he offers something irresistible. So Fortuna reluctantly leaves her safe existence behind to step back into a world of creatures and power. It soon becomes clear that she may not have bargained with her heart, but her life. So this sounds really interesting. Like I said, it is a darker fantasy romance, but I am interested in getting to it. I think that this is good. I haven't read a ton of dark fantasy romance, so I think that this will be a good way to see if I enjoy it or not. So yeah, this is here. And then I have The Marionettes by Katie Wismer, book 1 of the Marionettes series, I think. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. But basically, Katie Wismer, if you don't know, is an indie author and also an editor. So she runs her YouTube channel, Kate's Book Date, and Katie Wismer. I would definitely go check them out. She does a lot of stuff on writing and, being a writer, being an editor, all that kind of stuff. Basically, let me just read the back because I don't actually fully know what it's about. I just really have loved her other books, so I decided to pick this one up. Valerie Darkmoor's entire life has been building up to this moment, her initiation into the Marionettes, the prestigious league of witches sworn to swerve the vampires. As one of the last remaining blood witches, her spot is almost guaranteed. At least, so she thought. The academy is full of sabotage and secrets. Sorry, my dog is chewing on a bone. Bailey, can you quit? Come here. As the tasks begin, and Valerie quickly realizes she has more than her spot on the line. Her survival seems just as uncertain. The closer she gets to the final trial, the more she learns everything, and everyone around her isn't quite what it seems. So it is a fantasy romance from what I believe. It's more of an urban fantasy, but I am really interested in it. It has to do with witches, vampires, all that kind of stuff, so I'm really excited. And then, technically not the last book on here, but I need to redo my TBR because, it's a mess. Is the Falling in Love montage, which, again, don't even know who it's about. I believe it's Sierra Smith, although I may be wrong. Yeah, Sierra Smith. So as far as I know what this is about, it's about our main character who doesn't believe in love at first sight or happy endings. And that her mother is kind of going through something difficult, being in an early care home with early onset dementia. And so she's not looking for a relationship. She doesn't see the point in it. But she meets this other girl, and they decide to have like one summer of love, or one summer of fun. So like all the cliches, all the rom-com montage worthy dates, and I'm sure a relationship is going to blossom. But I believe this is a YA romance, contemporary. And I believe, I know it's an FF romance, which makes me very excited. So yeah, that's it for my, and again, ridiculously long September TBR, although it feels more manageable for some reason. These are all books that I'm really excited about, although I'm like not going to force myself into reading, especially like since I only have like 2 books that I'm borrowing from the library. I'm probably going to end up reading more of my owned TBR just because it's there, might as well. So yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Follow my social media down below. That is Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!